Welcome. You've come across something quiet, something gently hidden. This is a digital multiverse, a place where each night we return to warm childhood memories and relive them slowly through the perspectives of our most beloved characters, and sometimes even the villains who shaped those worlds. These are familiar places, remembered softly, glowing screens in dark rooms, simple stories that once felt endless, and worlds that stayed with us long after sleep finally came. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to follow every detail. Just listen and let nostalgia do what it does best. And if this feels like a secret worth keeping, would you kindly like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can find your way back here whenever you need rest? And would you kindly leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight? A city, a country, or just a quiet room, so we can gently see how far this little world reaches. Settle in, get comfortable, and when you're ready, we'll begin. I wake before I move. That's important. Moving too fast in the jungle teaches it your habits. The treehouse creaks in ways I recognize. Wood expands when the air warms, tightens when the night lets go. I lie still and listen to the small sounds, the kind that mean nothing until they don't. No rush, no fear, just awareness. The jungle is already awake. It always is. I'm the one catching up. When I finally sit up, the floor feels solid under my weight. That's another thing I notice every morning. Stability. You don't get much of it out here, so when you find it, you remember it. I eat a banana without thinking about hunger. It's a habit older than memory. Peel, bite, slow chew. The taste is familiar enough that it barely registers. Comfort doesn't announce itself. I step outside. Morning light doesn't hit everything at once. It moves in layers. Treetops first, then branches, then the ground last. I watch it like I've got time, because right now, I do. I think about nothing specific. Thoughts drift the way mist does, not in straight lines. The horde sits where it always does, unseen but present. I don't look at it yet. There's a right order to things. I stretch. Muscles complain, then agree. My body remembers the jungle, even when my mind wanders. This place shaped how I move, how I land, how I wait. Waiting is a skill. I listen again. Birds, insects, distant water, nothing out of place. That's when I allow myself to relax a little. Most days don't start with danger. They start with maintenance, with staying ready for something that might never come. I walk the familiar path, touching the bark of certain trees as I pass. Not for balance, just acknowledgement. The jungle notices when you forget it. The horde comes last. I stand at the entrance and let the quiet settle. The crates are stacked the same way they were yesterday. The smell hasn't changed. The weight in the air feels right, safe. That word doesn't mean forever. It means for now. And for now, that's enough. I turn away, already thinking about the small things that need fixing today. The loose plank, the rope that's starting to fray, the way shadows linger a little longer near the riverbank. Nothing urgent, but nothing ignored. The sun climbs higher, and with it comes heat that doesn't ask permission. I work anyway. There's a loose plank near the edge of the clearing. I noticed it yesterday. I notice it again today. It hasn't fixed itself, which is disappointing, but not surprising. Nothing out here ever does. I lift the plank, fit it back into place, pressed it down with my weight until it settles. The wood groans, then accepts the arrangement. We understand each other. Midday is for physical work. Thinking gets slippery when the air's thick. Muscles don't argue. They just do what they're told and complain later. I move from task to task without counting them. Repair, adjust, test. Jump once to make sure the ground still behaves the way I expect it to. It does. Good ground. I notice footprints near the river. Old ones. Kremling, probably. Their feet always look like they're surprised to be on land. I don't follow them. If I followed every track, I'd spend my whole life walking in circles and calling it strategy. I sit in the shade when the heat finally convinces me it's smarter than I am. This is the part of the day where the jungle gets lazy. Even the bugs slow down. Somewhere nearby, something large exhales and decides it doesn't need to move anymore. I respect that decision. I eat again. The banana tastes the same as the first one, which is reassuring. Consistency is underrated. I think about the horde without looking at it. I don't need to. It's there. If it weren't, I'd know. The jungle would feel lighter in the wrong way, like a joke missing its punchline. Sometimes I wonder what King K. Rool thinks when he plans these things. Does he imagine I sleep through it all? That I wake up confused, surprised, hurt? I don't get hurt. I get annoyed. There's a difference. A breeze moves through the leaves, just enough to shift shadows. For a moment, one of them looks like a critter sneaking around. It isn't. The jungle does that sometimes. Tests your reactions. Keeps you honest. I don't move. Neither does the shadow. We both win. I lie back and stare up through the canopy. Light filters down in broken shapes, never whole. The sky out here is something you earn in pieces. This is when thoughts wander. I think about how many times I've crossed the same gap, smashed the same barrel, climbed the same vine. You'd think it would get boring. It doesn't. Repetition isn't the same as stagnation. Every jump is a reminder that the ground might not catch you if you get careless. That keeps things interesting. I close my eyes for a minute. Not sleep, just rest. There's a difference. Sleep means letting go. Rest means staying ready while pretending you aren't. If something happened right now, I'd be on my feet before the sound finished traveling. That thought makes me smile a little. It's nice to be good at something. The sun starts its slow descent. Heat eases. Muscles tighten in that way that means they'll complain later. That's fine. Complaining means they worked. Another ordinary day still holding together. Which, if experience has taught me anything, means I should enjoy it while it lasts. Late afternoon is when everyone settles into who they really are. Diddy moves first. He always does. I don't have to look to know where he is. His energy leaves tracks, even when his feet don't. Vines sway a little longer than they should. A barrel rocks, then stills. He's exploring without going anywhere new, practicing speed where there's no urgency. That's how he learns, by pretending nothing's at stake. I remember doing the same thing. I just broke more things. He checks on me without checking on me. Circles wide. Keeps moving. If I were gone, he'd notice immediately. If I'm here, he pretends he didn't look. That's his balance. Cranky's voice carries from deeper in the jungle, steady and irritated in the way only routine irritation can be. He's talking at something. Maybe at us, maybe at the past. It's hard to tell with him. The cane hits the floor in a rhythm that means everything is fine. When that rhythm breaks, that's when you worry. Cranky keeps time for the jungle. Complains about change while guarding tradition like it's fragile glass. Says we've got it easy. Says we don't know how good we have it. He's wrong. He's also right. Family is like that. I passed by Candy's place on my patrol. Everything there is orderly in a way the rest of the jungle isn't. Clean lines, balanced weight. Things placed where they make sense, not just where they landed. She notices details I don't bother with. I notice dangers she doesn't have to. That's how it works. We don't say much to each other during the day. No need. Presence counts. The jungle notices who shows up consistently. I return to the clearing and sit for a moment watching Diddy practice jumps he doesn't need to practice. He overshoots one, lands badly, recovers, pretends it was on purpose. I don't react. Neither does he. Lesson learned. Family in the jungle doesn't hover. It observes, intervenes only when the ground disappears. The horde waits nearby, quiet and patient. It's strange how something so important can also feel like furniture. Always there, always heavy, always someone else's idea of temptation. I think about how many times each of us has guarded it in our own way. Cranky with paranoia, me with vigilance, Diddy with optimism, believing things stay safe because they're supposed to. Optimism needs protecting too. The shadows stretch longer now, touching familiar shapes. Platforms, crates, old paths, worn smooth by years of running the same lines. These aren't just routes, they're habits. Shared memory carved into wood and dirt. This is what outsiders don't understand. Donkey Kong Country isn't just where we live. It's how we move around each other without colliding. As the light fades, Diddy finally slows. Cranky's voice drops to a mutter. The jungle exhales. Everyone drifts closer without planning to. Nothing dramatic happens, which means everything is exactly right. For now, evening doesn't arrive all at once. It gathers. The light pulls itself low across the jungle, stretching shadows until they overlap and blur together. Shapes lose their edges. Familiar places start looking like memories instead of landmarks. This is when the jungle asks if you've been paying attention all day. I slow down without thinking about it. Speed belongs to daylight. At night, movement means intention. The air cools just enough to remind me that heat isn't permanent. Muscles respond to that, tightening in ways that feel earned. I roll my shoulders, listening to the small sounds my body makes when it agrees to keep going. The horde is still there. I don't check it right away. I let the certainty sit in my chest first. It's a weight I've carried long enough to know when it shifts. Right now, it hasn't. Diddy drifts closer as the light fades. Not straight toward me, never straight, but close enough that I can hear him when he lands. Close enough that I don't need to look. He's quieter at night. Everyone is. Energy doesn't disappear. It just folds in on itself. Cranky's hut glows faintly through the trees. He's settled in. That means his complaining has reached its evening pitch. Lower volume, sharper edge. That's the version meant for listening, not shouting. He does it every night, like punctuation at the end of the day. Candy's lights come on next. Order, again. Always order. The jungle tolerates it from her because she gives back just as much. I make another slow pass through the clearing, feet finding the same spots they always do. There's comfort in knowing exactly how far you can jump without thinking about it. Thinking slows you down. Trust speeds you up. I stop near the river and listen to it change voice. Water sounds different at night, less confident, more careful. It doesn't rush. It waits. I understand that. This is when memories come easiest, not the loud ones, the small ones. The first time I ran this path fast enough that the ground felt optional. The first time the horde felt like responsibility instead of reward. The moment I realized protecting something means letting it be heavy. Family drifts closer without a signal, not a meeting, just gravity. Everyone ends up within reach of everyone else by nightfall. We don't say why. We don't need to. The jungle hums around us, steady and patient. It's almost funny how much effort goes into keeping things normal, how much work it takes to make a day forgettable. People celebrate the days you remember. I respect the ones you don't. I rest my hand against a crate and feel the solid certainty of it. Wood, fruit, history. It's all still here. For tonight. That's enough. The jungle doesn't announce trouble. It changes tone. I notice it before I understand it. A subtle shift, like a note played just a little flat. The insects are still there, still loud, but their rhythm has fractured. Not silence. Something worse. Disagreement. I stop walking. Stillness carries weight at night. Even the ground seems to wait. I don't turn toward the horde yet. I don't need to. My chest already feels lighter in a way it shouldn't. Not empty, just adjusted. As if something important has been nudged without being removed. That's new. Diddy lands nearby, quieter than usual. He doesn't bounce. He doesn't wander. He just stands there pretending to stretch. He's listening too. Good. He's learning when to trust his instincts instead of his legs. Cranky's voice cuts off mid-complaint. That's when I turn. The horde looks the same. Crates stacked, marks intact. Nothing obviously missing. That almost fools me. Almost. I move closer and rest my hand against the nearest crate. The weight is wrong. Not gone, not stolen, just redistributed. A crate shifted slightly out of alignment, like someone tested it and decided to wait. The smell is different too. Oil. Faint but present, threaded through the sweetness of bananas like an insult. Kremlings, scouts don't steal. They measure. I kneel and study the ground. Tracks are faint, careful, too careful. Someone tried not to leave them. That takes planning. That takes time. King K. Rool doesn't rush when he thinks he's being clever. I breathe out slowly. This isn't an attack. It's a rehearsal. The jungle feels it now too. The hum tightens. Night creatures adjust their spacing, voices lowering. Nothing panics. Panic comes later. I straighten the shifted crate without thinking. Put the weight back where it belongs. It doesn't fix anything, but it makes a point. Family draws closer, unspoken. Not crowding, just present. That's our answer to testing. I think briefly about how many times this has happened. How many times normal cracked just enough to let something sharper through. Enough to remind us that routine isn't protection, it's preparation. I don't feel angry. I feel focused. There will be noise soon. Running. Barrels breaking promises. Jumps made on instinct instead of habit. That's fine. That's familiar. For now, though, the jungle holds its breath. And so do I. I don't move right away. Movement is a language, and once you speak it, things answer. Instead, I listen to the jungle recalibrate. The disturbance hasn't spread far, but it's there. Like a scar that hasn't decided whether it's going to ache yet. Leaves rustle where there's no wind. The river sounds farther away than it should. I commit the details to memory. The shifted crate, the smell of oil, the direction of the tracks that almost aren't there. This is how you prepare without alerting anyone who might still be watching. They never leave right away. That's one thing King K. Rool gets right. He likes to see if you noticed. I notice. I take the long path through the clearing, the one that passes old barrels stacked near the tree line. Some are sealed, some aren't. I test one with my foot. Solid. Another rattles when I touch it. That rattle sounds louder than it should. Everything sounds louder now. I think about routes. Not the obvious ones, the fast ones, the dependable ones. The paths that let you gain ground without showing your hand. The jungle offers them freely if you remember where to look. My feet find those places without help. The ground remembers me even when I pretend I've forgotten it. The horde stays quiet behind me. That's good. It means the next move isn't theft. Not yet. This is when the jungle teaches patience. When instinct says go and experience says wait. I wait. A bird takes off suddenly from the upper canopy, wings beating hard, not fleeing, relocating. It knows something I already suspect. The scouts are done. The first real move won't be careful. I think about the last calm evening before the last time this happened. How ordinary it felt. How much I trusted the routine to hold. Routine never fails all at once. It erodes piece by piece until one day you realize you've been running without warming up. I check the treehouse one more time. Everything where it belongs. I tighten a rope that doesn't need tightening. A habit. A goodbye that doesn't know it's won yet. Somewhere beyond the trees, something heavy shifts. Wood against metal. A distant splash. Too deliberate to be accidental. There it is. Not close, not loud, just certain. I roll my shoulders and feel the old readiness settle in. The kind that doesn't feel like excitement. It feels like alignment, like this is what the day was preparing me for all along. Tomorrow won't start the same way. I already know that. The jungle knows it too. The jungle settles into a watchful quiet. Not peace, readiness. I move through familiar ground and start noticing what's missing. A neki usually circles this part of the canopy at dusk, loud and territorial, like it wants credit for the sky. Tonight, nothing. Just empty branches and feathers drifting down too slowly. That absence matters. Closer to the ground, naughties linger near the trees, pretending not to watch me. They always pretend. They chew on bark, scuttle a few steps, freeze when I look their way. They don't scatter like they should. Something's keeping them close, nervous. They know when something bigger is coming. I step around a fallen log and nearly put my weight down where a claptrap should be. It isn't there. Those things love predictable paths. They snap at ankles and pretend they're braver than they are. The ground feels wrong without one. Too open, too polite. That's when I hear the buzzing. Zingers, high up. Just one at first, hovering where the air currents twist. Then another, drifting in from the side, lazy but alert. They don't attack. They watch. They always do before committing. I don't swat them away. If the jungle scouts are nervous, I want to know why. The smell of oil grows stronger as I move closer to the edge of the clearing. Not thick, not careless. Measured, like someone learning the wind. That's Kremling work. I crouch near the dirt and study it again. Tracks overlap now. Heavy feet, clawed toes, careless weight. Critters, several. One set deeper than the rest. Bigger, heavier. Captain maybe? Someone trusted not to panic. I think about how these paths usually sound when they move. Boots scraping, armor clanking, laughter that doesn't belong here. Right now, there's none of that. They're learning. A shadow passes overhead. I look up just in time to see a neki burst from the canopy, wings flailing, fleeing instead of attacking. It disappears toward the cliffs, screaming like it wants the whole jungle to know it made the smart choice. That's my warning. I straighten slowly, feeling the shift in my body as routine finishes turning into resolve. Muscles adjust. Balance centers. The ground beneath me feels less like home and more like a starting line. Then I hear it. Wood cracking where wood shouldn't crack. A barrel rolling without being pushed by the jungle. A low, guttural laugh that doesn't bother hiding anymore. From the tree line, a critter steps forward, spear in hand, armor dented, eyes locked on the horde like it's already his. Behind him, more movement. Shapes separating from shadow. Claptraps snapping eagerly at nothing. Zingers lowering their altitude, confident now. This isn't rehearsal. This is the opening move. I don't run yet. I smile, just a little, because now they've stopped pretending. And so have I. The moment stretches. Then it breaks. The first critter lunges before his feet remember caution. Spear forward, weight wrong, confidence borrowed from numbers. I don't think. Thinking would slow the answer. The ground surges up to meet me as I move. Everything sharpens at once. The sound of claws on dirt, the rattle of armor, the buzzing above as zingers commit to lower passes. This is the chaos I know. The kind that doesn't overwhelm. The kind that organizes itself if you let your body lead. I grab the nearest barrel and feel its familiar balance. Smooth wood, honest weight. I swing and release in one motion. It breaks against the critter's chest in a burst of splinters and surprise. That sound tells the jungle exactly what kind of night this is going to be. The others surge forward. Claptraps snap and scuttle, jaws clacking like they've been waiting all day for permission. I leap without looking, clear their reach by instinct, land hard enough to feel the earth answer back. It holds. Of course it does. This is what all those quiet days were for. My movement changes. No more measuring. No more waiting. Every platform becomes a suggestion instead of a limit. I roll through another critter, feel the impact travel up my arms, satisfying in a way that's hard to explain without sounding ungrateful. Above me, a zinger dives. I time the jump at the last second, pass beneath its shadow, feel the rush of air where it meant to be dangerous. I grin. They always think the jungle belongs to them once they bring enough noise. They forget who built the rhythm. I move forward now, not back. Toward the tree line. Toward the paths that turn into ledges. The ledges that turn into gaps. The gaps that turn into momentum. The horde can wait. This needs to be handled properly. Confidence settles in. Not reckless, not blind. The kind earned by repetition. I've run these lines 100 times in my head. Now I get to do them for real. Another barrel, another throw, another critter surprised that gravity and I are still on good terms. I hear Diddy behind me somewhere. Lighter steps, faster corrections. Good. He's in it now too. The family rhythm locking in without a word exchanged. The jungle is loud now, not panicked, excited. So am I. This is where the game starts. And I've never been very good at losing. There's no clean beginning. One step becomes another, and suddenly the jungle isn't scenery. It's instruction. The ground tilts, rises, drops away, and my body answers before the thought finishes forming. Naughties rush without strategy, all teeth and hope. I barrel through the first, feel the impact travel clean and true, then jump because the ground already told me it was ending. This is how the jungle teaches. Move, or learn why you should have. A critter charges from the side, spear low. I roll, feel it pass overhead, come up already moving, no pause. Pauses get filled with teeth. Barrels appear where they always do, never exactly where you want them, always where you need them. I grab one, throw it forward, watch it clear 2 enemies before shattering against a tree with a sound that feels like punctuation. The jungle starts throwing questions faster now. Gap. Naughty. Gap with a claptrap waiting at the landing. Zinger above, daring me to forget it exists. I don't forget. I jump early, land short, roll forward, feel jaws snap behind me where my heel was a moment ago. The timing locks in. Everything clicks. Fear doesn't vanish. It sharpens into usefulness. This is what I'm good at. Platforms rise and fall, just enough to punish hesitation. I don't hesitate. I trust the arc of my jump, the memory in my muscles, the way the jungle has always met me halfway when I commit. I break through brush and feel the air change, thicker, vertical. Vines hang ahead, swaying slightly like they're impatient with me. Good. Jungle hijinks doesn't end. It tips. I grab the first vine without slowing, swing forward, release at the peak because I know where the ground will be before I see it. Another vine. Another swing. Below me, naughties pace uselessly, bound to the floor they thought was enough. Above, zingers hover, forcing precision. I thread between them, not reckless, not careful, accurate. The jungle narrows, momentum builds, and then the ground disappears entirely. Transition, ropey rampage. The first rope snaps taut in my hands and suddenly everything is vertical. This is where the jungle stops pretending to be forgiving. Ropes sway, not in rhythm, not kindly. Each one moves like it has its own opinion about whether I should succeed. I swing, release, grab again, feel the strain in my shoulders, the pull of gravity trying to renegotiate terms. Below me, nothing that forgives mistakes. Above me, critters cling to ropes like they've misunderstood how this is going to end. I swing into one, feel the rope jerk violently, adjust midair, grab the next line before the first finishes complaining. This isn't chaos anymore. This is flow. Every swing teaches distance. Every release teaches trust. The jungle throws zingers into the gaps now, hovering exactly where a lazy arc would end. I shorten the swing, tighten the release, clear them by inches. My thoughts don't slow me down anymore. They ride along. I hear barrels cracking somewhere behind me. Good. The jungle is keeping score. The ropes thin. The gaps widen. The lesson sharpens. And I grin. Not because it's easy, but because it's honest. This is Donkey Kong country. And I'm exactly where I belong. The ropes stop forgiving halfway up. They don't say it, they show it. The sway tightens. Shorter arcs, quicker returns. There's no time to hang. No room to admire the drop below. The jungle wants commitment now, not consideration. I swing, release early, catch the next rope low. My hands burn just enough to remind me I'm alive. Above, a critter clings desperately, eyes wide, realizing too late that height doesn't make you safe. It makes you slow. I swing into him, feel the rope snap forward, then recoil. The movement throws my timing off by a fraction. A zinger hums inches from my path, daring me to repeat the mistake. I don't. I shorten the arc, release higher, catch the next rope at the very end of my reach. For a split second, there's nothing. No ground, no certainty, just motion and gravity negotiating. Then the rope holds. That's the feeling, not relief, confirmation. Below me, the jungle yawns open, deep and patient. It's not angry, it's waiting for someone to argue with physics. I don't. The climb steepens. Ropes come faster now, closer together, but less stable. Each one twists slightly like it's curious whether I've learned anything at all. I have. I stopped thinking in single jumps. I think in chains. One swing already contains the next. My body remembers the rhythm before my mind names it. Swing, release, catch, correct. The air rushes past louder now. The bugs fall away. Even the jungle seems to quiet, like it's watching closely. One last cluster of ropes ahead. Two zingers guarding the obvious path. A critter below, swaying uselessly, hoping I'll drop to his level. I take the higher line. The swing is long. Longer than the others. For a moment, the world stretches thin. I pass between the zingers so close, I feel the buzz vibrate in my chest. I release at the peak, trusting the angle, trusting myself. The final rope catches. Momentum carries me forward, up and out. My feet hit solid ground hard enough to shake the platform. The jungle answers with a familiar thud, like it approves of the landing. I straighten, breathing steady, pulse loud but controlled. Behind me, the ropes sway on without me, still testing the air. Ahead, the ground levels out. Leaves scatter underfoot. The jungle widens again, opening into something familiar, horizontal, fast, waiting to be run. Ropey rampage ends the way it always does, by reminding you that falling was never the real danger. Stopping was. My feet hit the ground already moving. The air changes again, lower, heavier, closer to the soil. This isn't about height anymore. This is about space, about how much of it you're allowed to have before something tries to take it away. Naughties rush first. They always do. Teeth out, eyes fixed, confidence borrowed from numbers. I don't slow. I roll through one, leap over the next, feel the rhythm settle into my legs like it's been waiting there all along. The jungle narrows into familiar lanes, flat stretches broken by sudden rises, logs placed just wrong enough to punish complacency. This is where the ground itself becomes part of the enemy. A critter lunges from the side, spear angled low. I jump, land behind him, keep going. No time to admire clean moves. Reptile rumble doesn't reward neatness, it rewards forward. Claptraps line the floor now, jaws snapping in impatient patterns. They don't chase, they wait. I respect that. Waiting is dangerous. I time the jumps tight, clear just enough. Feel teeth snap below me where gravity would have pulled me if I hesitated. The lesson is clear. Don't linger where the ground bites back. Barrels appear again, scattered like punctuation marks. I grab one without breaking stride. Throw it ahead. Watch it smash through a cluster of naughties who thought standing together meant something. It doesn't. Zingers drift in low arcs now. Not guarding gaps, but routes. They want me to choose. I choose speed. I duck under one, jump over another, thread the space between without letting the pattern finish forming. My thoughts compress further. There's no room for commentary here. Only assessment. Too slow, too close, just right. The jungle throws elevation changes without warning. Small ledges, short drops, places where momentum either carries you clean or throws you into something with teeth. I let the speed work. Trust the roll, trust the landing. This is the stage that punishes overconfidence. Good thing this isn't that. This is certainty. I break through brush into a wider stretch. More naughties, more claptraps, everything louder, closer, faster. The jungle isn't escalating, it's checking. I answer with movement. One last surge forward, a final jump over snapping jaws. The ground opens, then closes again under my feet. Reptile rumble doesn't end with relief. It ends with momentum intact, and I don't slow. The ground ends without warning, not with a threat, with an invitation. I don't stop running when I reach the edge. I never do. I launch forward, let gravity take the decision out of it, and the jungle gives way to water in a rush of cold and weight. Everything changes at once. Sound dulls. The sharp edges of the world soften. Motion becomes resistance instead of release. I adjust before panic can even suggest itself, draw in a deep breath, letting it out slowly as I sink. This place doesn't forgive thrashing. Below me, the water opens into a living maze. Coral rising in slow, deliberate shapes, anemones waving like they're keeping time with something older than the jungle. Light filters down in shifting bands, breaking apart, rejoining, never quite still. I move carefully, but not slowly. There's a difference. My arms pull through the water with steady strength. Every motion costs more here. Every mistake lingers longer. Momentum is earned, not given. Engard cuts through the water ahead of me, sleek and confident, like he's been waiting for me to catch up. I grab on without ceremony and feel the world sharpen again. Speed returns, but differently. Clean, precise, respectful of what the water demands. The coral isn't decoration, it's warning. I guide Engard through narrow passages, between spines that don't move out of the way just because you're important. Clambo waits in the shadows, shells parting slowly, deliberately. They don't rush, they don't need to. Time moves differently down here. A pearl fires past me, close enough to feel the wake. I angle down, then up, using the coral to block the next shot. The environment isn't just backdrop, it's conversation. It tells me where I can go if I'm willing to listen. Zingers drift beneath the surface now, slower but no less dangerous. Their presence feels wrong here, like something that sank without permission. I steer wide, feel Engard tense, then relax when the path clears. Despite the danger, I feel it, that quiet pull in my chest. Awe. The jungle above is loud, demanding, proud of how quickly it can kill you. This place doesn't brag, it just exists, intricate and patient, deadly without malice. I respect that, always have. I move faster now, confidence adapting to new rules. The water parts, coral blurs past. Light shifts with every stroke. A squidge darts in from the side. All sudden motion and bad intentions. I react instantly, angle Engard's snout forward, feel the impact ripple through the water. Forward, always forward. The current grows stronger near the end, pulling at us like it wants to keep us here. I fight it just enough, never against it fully. The jungle taught me that lesson long ago. As the surface grows closer, light sharpening, air promising itself again. I take one last look around. This place will still be here long after today. That thought steadies me. I break the surface, lungs burning, muscles alive, heart loud. The adventure hasn't slowed. It's just learned to breathe. I don't rush away from the water. I let it drip from my fur. Let the cool linger before the jungle heat reclaims me. My breathing steadies, deep and slow, each breath carrying more than just air. Salt, memory, something older than the paths I run. The jungle feels different after the water. Sharper, lighter, louder. I stand still, long enough to notice how my heartbeat echoes in my chest, how my muscles hum instead of ache. That familiar edge settles back into place. Not tension, not fatigue. Readiness. I look back once, toward where the water disappears into shadow and coral. It doesn't look wounded. It never does. Places like that don't need you to win. They only ask that you pass through honestly. The jungle accepts me again without ceremony. Leaves rustle overhead. Somewhere distant, a bird calls like nothing happened. The world moves on easily. I've always admired that. I think about how each place shapes me, how the ropes demanded trust, how the ground demanded speed, how the water demanded patience. None of them cared who I was. They only cared how I moved. That's fair. The horde feels far away now, but not forgotten. Its weight still sits in my chest, steady as ever. Everything I've done today, every jump, every impact, has been a quiet promise that I'll see it safe again. Family will be moving too, in their own ways, on their own lines. We don't need to be together to be aligned. The jungle shifts around me as the light changes again, this time towards something brighter, harsher. I know what's ahead. I can almost hear it already, the hollow thud of barrels being tested, the echo of empty space waiting to be crossed at speed. I roll my shoulders once more, feel the last of the water leave my fur, and let the calm finish settling. Respite doesn't mean stopping. It means remembering why you start running again. I step forward. The jungle opens. I take a few steps before the jungle answers. It always does. The ground firms beneath my feet, less forgiving than the moss and loam behind me. The air carries a hollow note now, a sound that doesn't come from animals or water or wind. It comes from empty space, from distance measured too precisely to be accidental. Barrels. I slow again, just for a moment. Not because I have to, because I want to remember this part, the last stretch where my weight is fully mine, where every step belongs to the ground and not the air. There's a rhythm to how the jungle transitions. It doesn't jerk you from one truth to another. It eases you forward until you realize too late that the rules have already changed. The first barrel waits ahead, angled slightly upward, mouth open like it's impatient. I recognize the feeling immediately. This isn't about strength. It never is. Barrels don't care how hard you hit. They care when you let go. I step closer and place a hand on the rim. The wood is warm, worn smooth by years of launches and landings. Countless arcs burned into memory. Some clean, some painful, all instructive. I climb in. The world narrows. From inside the barrel, the jungle becomes a frame instead of a field. I can see the next opening already, hanging in space, daring me to trust the distance. Beyond that, another. Then another. A chain of decisions that must be made faster than doubt can form. This is where the jungle stops teaching gently. The barrel fires. Sound collapses into motion. I'm airborne before my thoughts catch up, flung forward with violent precision. The wind tears past my ears, the world spinning just enough to remind me that balance is temporary. I hit the next barrel clean. No time to celebrate. The angle's wrong. The next one sits lower, offset, guarded by nothing but the distance itself. I wait half a heartbeat longer than instinct wants. Then fire. The jungle flashes past in fragments. Leaves, sky, wood, shadow. Each barrel reshapes my momentum, not resetting it, but bending it, like a river forced through sharp turns. This is speed without ground. Mistakes here don't bruise, they erase. A zinger drifts into view between launches, hovering exactly where a careless shot would end. I adjust the angle mid-spin, feel the barrel hum beneath me, then launch past it, so close the buzz rattles my teeth. Good. The jungle rewards attention. Another barrel, then another. The gaps widen, the angles sharpen. There's no room left for reflection now. Thought compresses into instinct. Instinct into timing. Fire. Catch. Fire again. My body moves ahead of fear, ahead of memory. Every launch feels like the first and the 100th at the same time. The jungle roars now, not angry, not joyful, alive, reacting to motion with motion. I burst out of the final barrel and land hard, rolling once before coming to my feet. The ground feels almost strange after so much air, like it has weight again. I laugh before I can stop myself. Not loud, just a breath of sound. Relief mixed with satisfaction. The kind you only earn by trusting something that absolutely did not need to work. I keep moving. The jungle isn't done asking questions yet. The jungle opens up again. Not gently, confidently. The path ahead isn't narrow or deceptive. It's wide, fast, almost inviting. The kind of terrain that looks simple enough to punish anyone who mistakes it for mercy. I don't. I recognize it for what it is. An open challenge. My stride lengthens without conscious permission. The ground responds, firm and predictable, like it knows I'm done negotiating. Leaves scatter underfoot as I pick up speed, every footfall landing exactly where I expect it to. The jungle isn't trying to surprise me now. It's trying to keep up. Naughties pour in from the sides, less coordinated than before, more desperate. They rush like they're hoping momentum will make the decision for them. I don't slow. I shoulder through one, leap clean over another, land running. They were obstacles a moment ago. Now they're punctuation. I feel it fully now, that shift from reaction to command. The difference between surviving a place and moving through it on purpose. My confidence doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from familiarity, sharpened into certainty. I know these rhythms. I know how long the ground lasts before it drops away. I know which shadows mean elevation and which mean nothing at all. I know how high I can jump without effort and how much farther I can go when effort isn't optional. A critter charges head-on, spear raised, eyes locked like he believes in straight lines. I break that belief with a roll that sends him spinning behind me, already forgotten by the time my feet touch down again. Forward, always forward. The jungle throws more at me now. Clusters instead of singles, combinations instead of patterns. A claptrap waits just beyond a small rise, jaws snapping eagerly at the landing spot. I adjust mid-stride, jump earlier than instinct suggests, clear it with space to spare. I don't grin, but I could. Barrels line the path again, not as lifelines, but as options. I use one to clear a group, another to extend a jump I don't technically need. The excess feels good, like stretching after a long rest. The air feels lighter here, brighter. Sunlight punches through the canopy in hard beams that flash past as I run, strobing the world into pieces. Each one feels like a snapshot of motion, arm forward, foot landing, breath steady. I'm not chasing the jungle anymore. I'm setting the pace. The sounds change. Less frantic, more reactive. Enemies hesitate where they didn't before. That hesitation matters. It buys distance. It buys control. This is the point where the jungle remembers. Remembers how I move. Remembers how I land. Remembers that these paths weren't designed to stop me. They were shaped around me. I vault over a fallen log without breaking stride. Land clean, roll once just because it feels right, come up running faster than before. My breathing syncs with my movement now, each inhale a preparation, each exhale a release. I feel strong, not invincible, grounded. The deeper I go, the more the jungle gives up, pretending this is about defense. This is pursuit now, me driving forward, daring the world to put something meaningful in my way. And it will, I know that. But right now, in this stretch of Congo jungle, with the rhythm locked in and my confidence settled like armor under fur, I don't wonder whether I can handle what's coming. I wonder how fast I'll get there. The jungle tightens, and I welcome it. Wide paths were for learning the rhythm. These narrower stretches are for proving I've absorbed it. The ground stops being honest here. Platforms slant just enough to test whether I'm watching, whether I'm still listening. I am. My feet adjust without instruction. Balance shifts forward, then back. I don't fight it. Fighting terrain is how you lose to it. I let the ground finish its sentence before I respond. The first tire surprises me anyway. Not because I didn't see it, but because I forgot how eager they are. I land hard, and the world springs upward, lifting me higher than planned. For a split second, there's nothing beneath me but sky and memory. I laugh. Quietly, instinctively. Right. This again. I lean into the next bounce, compress deeper, let the tire throw me instead of resisting it. The arc smooths out immediately. Height becomes predictable. Direction becomes choice instead of accident. Zingers drift near the top of the jumps now, exactly where carelessness would put me. I tuck my knees tighter, adjust the angle mid-air, pass beneath them close enough to feel the vibration. The jungle isn't mad, it's paying attention. Naughties try to meet me where I land, misjudging how much control I've gained over the air itself. I clip one on the way down, land past another, and keep moving before their confusion resolves into pursuit. Confidence doesn't feel loud in my head. It feels quiet. The sound changes after that. Not abruptly, nothing in this jungle ever does, but gradually, until I notice the echo before I notice the cause. Metal hums under my feet where wood used to answer back. Something straight, something built. I know what this means. The mine cart waits ahead, still but restless, like it remembers what it's for, even when no one's riding it. I step in and it jolts forward immediately. No warning, no courtesy. Good. The track tears under me, gaps opening without negotiation. I jump when the rails disappear, land when they return, timing instinctively to the clatter beneath me. Each successful landing reinforces the next decision. I don't question. I commit. Kremlings leap across parallel tracks, eyes wide with borrowed bravery. I clear them cleanly, feel the cart shudder with satisfaction. The speed doesn't frighten me anymore. It focuses me. When the cart finally throws me back onto solid ground, I barely notice the transition. My legs absorb it. My breath stays even. The jungle offers another set of rules almost immediately. Lights. Red, green. Stop and go stations blink like they're daring me to misread them. I don't wait. Red means still. Green means movement. I move on green like it's instinct. Like the color itself is telling me when to exist. Enemies freeze. Resume. Freeze again. I never do. Somewhere in the middle of all this, between bouncing ground and vanishing rails and rules that change with light, I realize I'm not reacting anymore. I'm anticipating. The jungle isn't throwing surprises. It's presenting opportunities. And I'm deep enough now that it knows it can stop pretending otherwise. The resistance ahead won't be incidental. It won't be environmental. It'll be intentional. I roll my shoulders as I run, feel the heat, the momentum, the certainty lock into place. Good. Let it come. I don't hear him arrive. I feel the rhythm change. There's a second set of movements in the periphery now. Lighter impacts, faster recoveries, a cadence that doesn't interrupt mine so much as fill the gaps. I don't turn. I don't need to. He's there. Diddy moves the way the jungle expects him to. Quick where I'm steady, sharp where I'm broad. Where I clear space, he threads it. Where I commit weight, he commits timing. We've done this long enough that presence doesn't require acknowledgement. It's understood. Naughties rush in pairs now, flanking angles meant to distract. I take the front without breaking stride. The second disappears in a blur of motion beside me, handled, dismissed, already irrelevant by the time my foot hits the ground again. Good, that's how it should be. The jungle responds to us differently together. Not afraid, not cautious, just aware. Attacks come tighter. Gaps open narrower. The timing windows shrink by half a breath. Diddy never misses them. I notice how the ground seems to last longer when he's nearby. How barrels are cleared cleanly. How enemies hesitate just enough to be handled efficiently. He doesn't slow me down. He never has. He makes momentum portable. We move through another stretch of stop and go lights, and I don't even register the color changes anymore. Diddy does. I can feel it in how the space behind me stays clear, how nothing nips too close to my heels. The jungle rises slightly now. The air thins just enough to feel like a transition. Trees space out. Sunlight grows harsher, less filtered. This is the outer skin of Congo jungle, the part that still remembers being wilderness but already feels the pull of something beyond. The enemies grow more deliberate here. Critters hold formation. Zingers guard approach lines instead of hovering aimlessly. The jungle isn't improvising anymore. It's deploying. I adjust my pace, not slower, measured. Diddy matches it instantly, his movements syncing without instruction. When I leap, he's already landing. When I roll, he's already covering the angle I leave open. There's no conversation. There doesn't need to be. We clear one last dense stretch of foliage, and the world opens wider than it has all day. The trees thin, the ground flattens, the jungle exhales, as if admitting we've made it through the part that pretends to be chaotic. Ahead, the color shifts. Greens darken into stone. The air smells different, cooler, heavier, less alive. The edge. I slow for the first time in a while, not to rest, to acknowledge the boundary. Diddy slows with me, presence steady at my side, eyes already forward. The jungle behind us hums with motion and memory. Whatever waits ahead won't move like this. I feel my confidence settle into something harder now, less playful, more intentional. The warm-up is over. The jungle has done what it does best. It's delivered us to the real problem. I take the first step toward the edge. Diddy's already there. The jungle doesn't end. It fades. Green gives way to stone gradually, like the world lowering its voice instead of changing the subject. The air cools first. Then the light thins. By the time the canopy is gone, I'm already moving differently. Slower. Not cautious, contained. The cave mouth opens wide but shallow, a dark that doesn't rush to meet me. It waits. I step inside and feel the jungle fall away behind me, its constant motion replaced by something heavier. Stillness. Every sound matters here. My breath echoes back at me, changed, unfamiliar. Footsteps don't vanish into leaves anymore. They return, delayed, distorted. The cave listens to everything I do, then repeats it badly, like it's trying to learn me. I don't give it much. My stride shortens. Weight stays centered. Strength turns inward, ready but reserved. This place doesn't reward speed. It punishes noise. Diddy's presence shifts too. I can sense him closer now, not trailing, not flanking, aligned. Where he was motion before, he's awareness now. I don't need to look to know he's watching the ceiling, the edges, the places where darkness folds over itself. Enemies don't rush in caves. They reveal themselves. A critter steps into the light instead of charging. A zinger hangs lower, wings barely moving, trusting shadow more than height. Even the claptraps snap less here, their teeth clicking softly, as if they understand volume carries. I move with restraint. Each jump is shorter, controlled. Each landing measured for sound. The cave remembers impacts longer than the jungle ever did. I don't want it remembering me at all. Water drips somewhere far off. The rhythm slow and steady. Not a threat, a metronome. I time my movements between the drops, letting the cave's own pulse hide mine. Barrels appear again, but they're different here. Not eager, not loud. They wait in alcoves, positioned carefully, like they've been placed by something that understands consequences. I use them sparingly, choosing angles that minimize echo, launches that don't scream through the chamber. The darkness deepens as we move further in. Light stops coming from above and starts coming from us. Brief flashes of motion, outlines revealed only long enough to move past them. I feel my confidence shift again. It doesn't dim, it concentrates. The jungle asks me to move. The caves ask me to listen. I comply. Somewhere ahead, the cave narrows, then drops. I feel the pull of deeper stone, heavier air, a place where sound will behave even worse. This isn't a place to prove dominance. It's a place to prove control. I roll my shoulders once, feel Diddy adjust with me, both of us quieter than we've been all day. The jungle trained us to survive chaos. The caves demand discipline, and I step forward ready to give it. The track doesn't look dangerous at first. That's what makes it honest. Stone platforms hang in a straight line ahead of me, suspended over darkness that doesn't bother pretending there's a bottom. The torchlight flickers just enough to show where I can stand, but not for how long. I take one step forward. Behind me, stone vanishes. Not crumbling, not falling, simply gone. I stop immediately, heart thudding once, hard, then settling. I don't turn around. I already know what I'll see. Or rather, what I won't. The cave has changed the rules again. This isn't about where I am, it's about where I was. The path erases itself with quiet efficiency, like it doesn't want to argue about it. I feel the pressure lock into place instantly. Not panic, structure. The kind of clarity that only comes when hesitation is removed as an option. Forward is the only direction that exists. Diddy adjusts behind me, or rather, doesn't. His presence stays exactly where it needs to be, close enough to matter, light enough not to interfere. He understands this kind of rule instinctively. Speed without recklessness, commitment without noise. I move. Each step forward deletes a choice behind me. I don't rush, but I don't linger. The rhythm becomes precise. Step, pause, assess, step again, always knowing that stopping too long is just a slower way of falling. Enemies appear on the track like punctuation marks. Critters stand exactly where I'd like to land, trusting the disappearing stone to pressure me into mistakes. I deal with them decisively. No excess movement, no flourish. A roll, a throw, a clean jump. Efficiency matters here. The cave echoes differently now. There's less reverb, more immediacy. Sounds don't bounce. They end, like the track itself. I measure my jumps carefully, clearing just enough distance to stay ahead of the erasure without overshooting into the dark. I can feel the track dissolving behind my heels now. Not audibly, but conceptually. The knowledge presses at my back like a physical thing. The cave isn't chasing me. Time is. Zingers hover in awkward positions, forcing tighter arcs. Claptraps wait on narrow platforms, daring me to land poorly. I don't give them that satisfaction. My movements compress further. No wasted height, no unnecessary force. Strength applied exactly where gravity demands it. This is restraint, sharpened into momentum. Diddy moves with me in perfect echo. Never ahead, never behind enough to be lost. When I land, he's already finishing his motion. When I jump, he's already committing. The track doesn't distinguish between us. It erases all the same. The darkness below feels closer now. Not threatening, expectant. Like it knows eventually everything ends there if you forget the rule even once. I don't forget. The final stretch opens just enough to tempt overconfidence. Wider platforms, fewer enemies, a lie. I stay focused, letting the disappearing stone keep me honest all the way to the end. When solid ground finally returns, real stone, unmoving, unapologetic, I step onto it and stop. The track behind me is gone entirely, not destroyed. Finished, I exhale slowly, feeling the cave return to stillness around us. Trick track. Trek doesn't test strength or courage. It tests whether you can accept a rule completely and move within it without complaint. I glance ahead into deeper shadow, where the cave narrows again, torchlight barely holding its ground. The jungle taught me how to move. The caves are teaching me when not to stop, and I'm learning fast. The light doesn't belong here. I feel that immediately. The torch flares as I take it, bright and warm and wrong in a place that has learned how to live without it. The flame doesn't push the darkness back. It announces itself. Every shadow sharpens in response. Like it's listening, the cave notices. I move slower than before. Not because I doubt my footing, but because the light changes what matters. Sound was the danger earlier. Now, it's visibility. Or rather, the illusion of it. The flame shows me just enough to make me think I understand the space. That's how it gets you. Beyond the torch's reach, darkness doesn't wait. It moves. I don't see it advance. I feel it. Pressure behind my shoulders, a weight that wasn't there a moment ago. The cave closes when the light lingers too long in one place. This place punishes hesitation directly. I keep moving. Enemies don't reveal themselves until the light touches them. Critters appear mid-step, already too close, as if they were always there, and the torch simply gave them permission. I react immediately. No build-up, no warning. Roll, jump, land. The flame flickers wildly with each motion, shadows leaping across the walls like something trying to escape its own shape. Diddy stays close, closer than before. I feel his presence as a constant shift of light behind me, a second shadow overlapping mine. He understands this mechanic instinctively too, staying in the light without becoming its center. The darkness behind us thickens when we slow. That's the rule. I don't test it. Platforms appear at the edge of the torch's reach, forcing leaps into places I can't see yet. I trust the rhythm instead of the view. Jump where the ground should be, not where I can confirm it. The flame rewards commitment. It punishes doubt. Zingers drift just beyond visibility, revealed only when the torch catches them mid-buzz. I adjust instantly, angling my movement to keep the light sweeping forward instead of lingering. Standing still is the real enemy here. I feel fear rise once, not panic, but awareness sharpened into urgency. The darkness isn't angry, it's efficient. It doesn't rush, it just reclaims. Every step forward pushes the boundary back a little. Every pause lets it advance. I keep my pace steady now, not fast, not slow, just enough. The torch steadies with me, flame bending in agreement, like it understands what I'm asking of it. The cave narrows further. The light fills more of the space, which only makes the shadows darker by contrast. The enemies thin out, replaced by riskier jumps, tighter timing, places where falling wouldn't be dramatic, just final. The exit glow appears ahead suddenly, brighter than torchlight, softer than flame. The darkness resists harder here, pressing in one last time, forcing me to commit fully. I do. I cross the threshold, and the torch's light becomes irrelevant instantly. The cave releases its hold with quiet indifference, as if I was never its concern to begin with. I slow once I'm through. Not to recover, to acknowledge. Fear didn't weaken me here. It structured me, and deeper still, past the caves, past the jungle, past the places that test movement and nerve, something else is preparing its own rules. I can feel it. The cave doesn't open up after the torchlight fades. It changes texture. The darkness loosens, just enough to let height return. Stone platforms rise and stagger instead of narrowing, and the floor gives way to something older, stranger, rubber that shouldn't exist this far underground, pressed into the cave like a mistake that stayed useful. Tires. They sit there quietly at first, half buried in dust and mineral, edges worn smooth by time and repetition. I recognize the feeling immediately. Not danger, not urgency, but potential. This place doesn't demand speed. It demands trust in the rebound. I test the first tire with a measured step. It gives back more than it takes, lifting me upward with a restrained eagerness. Not violent, not reckless. Controlled, if I'm willing to be. I am. The jump carries me higher than stone alone ever could. The ceiling rushes closer, stalactites glinting faintly in reflected torchlight from earlier passages. I adjust mid-air, land on the next platform, already planning the return bounce before my feet settle. This is bouncy bonanza, but underground. Elastic motion in a place that usually punishes excess. The cave doesn't echo the impacts the same way here. The tires absorb sound, swallow it, turn it into vertical momentum instead. It feels like the cave is holding its breath while I'm airborne. Diddy adapts instantly. He always does. Where I take the higher arcs, he threads the lower ones, catching rebounds cleanly, never stealing height from me, never lagging behind. His movements stitch the gaps between my landings. 2 shadows again, 1 rhythm. Zingers float near the apexes now, daring me to overcommit. I don't. I compress deeper into the tires instead, trading height for control, letting the bounce lift me just enough to clear their hum without brushing danger. Naughties appear on elevated ledges, confused by the verticality. I meet them from above, land with authority, and let the tire beneath me carry me away before retaliation even forms. Confidence feels different here. In the jungle, it was expansive. In the caves, it was restrained. Here, it's elastic. I can feel how much force I'm allowed to use without consequence. Push too hard and the ceiling punishes. Push too little and the gaps claim you. There's a narrow band of correctness, and I settle into it quickly. The cave responds. Platforms space out further. Tires stack vertically now, demanding chained rebounds, commitment without pause. I let myself go with the motion, knees bending deep, launches clean, landings precise. Up, across, up again. For a moment, I forget the weight of the stone around us, forget how deep we are. The movement feels almost playful. Dangerous, yes, but honest in its rules. The mines creep back in subtly. A rail here, a lantern bracket there, signs that something artificial has passed through and decided not to stay. The tires feel like remnants of that passage. Tools abandoned, repurposed by the cave into something else. I respect that. Near the end, the tires grow unpredictable. One rebounds faster than expected. Another lags just enough to tempt impatience. I don't rush. I let each bounce finish speaking before I answer. Diddy mirrors me perfectly. Presence steady, movements efficient, never crowding the space, never leaving it empty either. When I finally land on solid stone again, unmoving and quiet, the absence of rebound feels strange, heavy, final. I pause. Not long. Just enough to let the elasticity drain out of my muscles, to feel gravity settle back into its familiar shape. These caves aren't trying to scare me anymore. They're refining me. And deeper still, past the last of the bounce, past the rails and shadows, I can sense the tone beginning to change again. Less organic, less forgiving. The stone ahead doesn't flex. It endures. I step forward with that in mind, already adjusting. The cave sharpens, not with edges, with order. Stone gives way to platforms that feel too deliberate, too evenly spaced. Lanterns glow with an unnatural steadiness, their light not flickering like flame, but holding as if someone told it exactly where to stop. I slow before I mean to. This place isn't listening to me. It's waiting for something else. I take a step forward, and the world freezes. Not metaphorically, literally. The critter ahead of me locks mid-motion, spear raised but unfinished. A zinger halts in the air, wings caught halfway through a beat that never completes. Even the drip of water from the ceiling seems suspended, the sound cut short as if swallowed. My body tenses instantly. Every muscle tightens, ready to respond to a threat that isn't moving. I don't understand yet. Then, movement returns. Everything resumes at once. The critter finishes his lunge. The zinger buzzes forward. The cave exhales and noise rushes back in like it was never gone. I stumble half a step. That's rare. The startle hits late, heat in my chest, breath pulled too fast. This isn't fear of danger, it's fear of rules I didn't see coming. The cave didn't warn me, it didn't escalate, it switched. I stopped deliberately this time, scanning the space instead of charging it. My eyes catch the source almost immediately. A station set into the stone, its light shifting colour. Red, green. The realization settles slowly, then all at once. This place doesn't care how fast I am. It cares when I'm allowed to be. I wait. Green. I move instinctively, and the cave permits it. Enemies animate again. Hazards resume their cycles, and I pass through cleanly. The light flips back to red behind me, and everything freezes once more. Sound snapping off like a broken string. The silence is louder than motion ever was. Diddy stays close. I can feel him recalibrating too, his movements smaller now, tighter, eyes always flicking to the station lights. He doesn't rush to correct me. He lets me learn it myself. Good. I approach the next section more carefully. The stop and go lights control whole stretches of space now. Not just enemies, but permission. Red means the world holds its breath. Green means it remembers how to move. The unfamiliarity needles at me. My instincts want to override it. To push forward regardless. To trust momentum. That urge nearly costs me when I move a fraction too soon and feel the space stiffen, resistance snapping into place like invisible stone. I pull back just in time. Heart pounding now. Not from exertion, but adjustment. This environment doesn't reward dominance. It rewards obedience to timing. I hate that, which means I need to master it. I force myself to wait through a full red cycle, letting the stillness sit heavy on my shoulders. The cave doesn't blink. It doesn't rush me. It's perfectly content to let me fail by impatience alone. Green. I go. This time it feels cleaner. My movement aligns with the rule instead of colliding with it. Enemies fall where they should. Jumps land where they're meant to. The cave doesn't resist me when I respect the signal. By the third station, the startle is gone. By the fourth, anticipation replaces it. I stop thinking in terms of motion and start thinking in terms of windows. Short ones, precise ones. Moments where the world exists just long enough to be crossed. Diddy moves like he was built for this, darting through green, locking still on red without excess motion. His discipline sharpens mine. Together, we pass through sections that would have punished either of us alone. By the final stretch, I'm no longer reacting to the lights. I'm waiting for them. The cave hasn't beaten me. It's trained me, again. When I step off the last controlled platform and feel uninterrupted motion return, I don't surge forward immediately. I let the freedom settle. Let the rhythm normalize again. This underground world isn't chaotic like the jungle. It's conditional, and conditions can be learned. I roll my shoulders, glance ahead into darker stone, deeper rails, places where the rules will change again without apology. Fine, I'm ready to be surprised, just once. Then I adapt. The sound reaches me before the sight. Grinding, stone on stone, slow and patient, a rhythm that doesn't hurry because it doesn't have to. The cave widens just enough to accommodate it, and when I see the millstones for the first time, I understand immediately what kind of place this is. Nothing here chases you. Everything waits for you to be wrong. The stones roll in deliberate paths, massive and indifferent, their weight pressing the air aside as they move. Platforms thread between them narrowly, not placed for comfort, but for precision. I step forward and feel the timing click into place almost instantly. This isn't about reacting fast. It's about never stepping where the future is already spoken for. I watch one millstone pass, count the beats between rotations, then move the moment its shadow clears. My body slips into the gap like it belongs there. The stone doesn't notice me. It doesn't care. That's worse than hostility. Diddy shadows me closely. Lighter steps, quicker adjustments. Where I take the center line, he skirts the edges, using the stone's bulk as cover. We don't communicate. We don't need to. Our timing syncs naturally, like we're both listening to the same slow heartbeat. The platforms begin to shift. Some move with the stones. Some move against them. Some pretend to be safe until they're suddenly not. I test each one with minimal weight, committing only when the pattern confirms itself. A claptrap waits on a narrow ledge, jaws snapping in a rhythm dangerously close to the millstone's pass. I deal with it cleanly, but the act costs time, and time here is currency you don't get back. The stone passes closer on the next cycle. I feel the wind of it tug at my fur. Good reminder. The cave hums now, vibration traveling up through my feet, into my legs, settling in my chest. This place is alive in a way the jungle never was. Mechanical, relentless, unbothered by victory or defeat. I don't rush, I advance. Jumping here isn't about distance, it's about arrival. I land exactly where the stone has just been, trusting it won't return before I'm gone. Every success tightens my focus further. Every near miss sharpens it. The millstones grow larger deeper in, heavier, slower, more confident. Their paths overlap just enough to create false openings. Spaces that look safe until you realize two futures are arriving there at once. I don't take those. I wait. Waiting doesn't feel like weakness anymore. The caves cured me of that. Waiting is just another form of movement here. Internal, compressed, deliberate. Diddy nearly disappears from my awareness at one point. His motion so efficient, it leaves no disturbance behind. That steadiness grounds me. Reminds me this isn't a solo test, even if the danger feels personal. Near the end, the cave tightens again. The stones pass closer together now. They're grinding louder, angrier. The platforms shrink. The timing windows narrow to heartbeats instead of seconds. I feel it then. Not fear, pressure, the sense that I'm being processed, measured, reduced down to whether I fit through what remains. This isn't training anymore. It's filtration. When I finally clear the last millstone and land on solid, unmoving stone, the grinding doesn't fade. It continues behind me, constant, like the cave is disappointed it didn't get its due. Ahead, the air changes, opens. The stone walls pull back slightly, forming a chamber that feels less accidental, less shaped by time and more by intent. The ceiling rises. The echoes stretch longer. The silence between sounds grows deliberate. I slow. Diddy slows with me. This place isn't testing movement, it's announcing presence. Something ahead moves differently than stone. Something airborne. Something that doesn't obey gravity the way the minds insist everything else must. I hear a distant flutter. A sharp cry that cuts through the grinding like it doesn't belong underground at all. The mills keep turning behind us. Forward, the darkness waits, and whatever's waiting in it knows we're here now. The cave opens too wide to be honest. The ceiling rises faster than stone should allow, the walls pulling back into a hollow that feels unfinished, like something cleared space in a hurry and never gave it back. The grinding of the millstones fades behind me, replaced by air, real air, moving wrong underground. Then something screams. The sound cuts sharp and high, echoing in a way the cave hasn't used yet. It doesn't bounce. It dives, knifing through the chamber like it's testing the space for weakness. I look up just in time to see wings. Neki bursts into the light in a violent arc, feathers flaring, eyes wild and too alert for anything that belongs down here. He doesn't land, he doesn't slow. He circles, banking hard, testing angles, testing me. This isn't terrain, this is intent. I brace instinctively, feet wide, shoulders squared, waiting for something I don't yet understand. Neki dives suddenly, hurling a nut mid-flight. It spins fast, erratic, strikes the stone near me and shatters, fragments skittering dangerously close. So that's how this works. I track him now, head tilting upward, eyes following the arc of his flight. He stays just out of reach, taunting height, daring me to jump early. Another dive, another nut, different angle, faster release. He wants reaction. I don't give it to him. I let the first few passes go unanswered, absorbing the pattern instead of the impact. His flight isn't random. It's rhythmic. Wide circle, sharp dip, throw, climb. Each pass tightens the loop. Each nut lands closer. The cave feels smaller already. I move only when I have to, sidestepping fragments, keeping my weight grounded. Jumping blind here would be stupid. He wants me airborne, vulnerable, late. Diddy stays mobile behind me, darting along the chamber edges, never drawing Neki's focus, but never leaving it unchallenged either. I feel his movement like a second pulse in the space, unpredictable enough to complicate the air. Neki shrieks again and dives lower this time, nut thrown almost lazily. I catch it without thinking, feel the weight solidify in my hands. Opportunity. I hurl it upward immediately, but Neki's already banking away, laughing in that awful avian way, the throw missing by a breath. Too eager. He learns faster than terrain ever did. So do I. The next cycle, I wait longer. I let the nut hit the ground, let it bounce. Let Neki commit to his climb before I throw. Still misses. He adjusts. Now the dives come faster, lower. The nuts come quicker, thrown in pairs, forcing me to move instead of plan. One catches me across the shoulder in a glancing blow. Pain flares, sharp, distracting, bad. The cave echoes with his cry again, louder now, more confident. He senses advantage. I feel it too. The subtle shift where analysis threatens to lag behind pressure. I jump once, mistime it, land hard. My breath stutters. Another nut slams close enough to rattle my teeth. This is going wrong. I force myself still again, despite every instinct screaming to act. Stillness sharpens the world. The next dive reveals the truth I've been missing. Neki slows just a fraction when he throws. A hitch, a commitment. That's the opening. I catch the next nut clean, wait through the hitch, and throw with everything I have. It clips his wing just barely, enough to throw off the next arc. Neki shrieks, not pain, not fear, anger. He dives recklessly now, abandoning caution for pressure. Nuts rain faster, angles sloppier, height traded for aggression. The cave fills with motion and danger. I dodge, catch, throw, but the rhythm fractures. One dive comes too fast. I misjudge. The nut hits square. My footing slips. I go down hard, the world ringing, vision flashing white at the edges. Above me, wings beat triumphantly. Neki circles tighter, lower, screaming victory into the stone. This is it. I'm late. I'm grounded. I'm exposed. Then the rhythm breaks. Diddy moves. I don't see him at first. I feel the disruption. A sudden flicker in the air. A shift in Neki's attention that doesn't belong. Diddy launches from the periphery, not toward Neki, but through his space, forcing altitude change without offering a target. Necky jerks sideways instinctively. The nut releases early. It drops right in front of me. I'm already moving. Pain burns through my side as I surge upward, but momentum answers louder than injury. I catch the nut mid-rise. Don't wait for timing, don't analyze. I throw with pure intent, every lesson compressed into one motion. The nut slams into Necky's chest. The scream cuts off. Wings falter. Air betrays him. Necky spirals downward, crashing hard against the stone in a flurry of feathers and rage, then goes still. Silence floods the chamber. I stand there breathing hard, chest heaving, every muscle humming with aftermath. The cave doesn't cheer. It doesn't acknowledge the victory at all. It just accepts the new state of things. Diddy lands beside me lightly, presence settling back into place like it never left. I don't look at him. I don't need to. I straighten slowly, feeling the pain recede into memory, the adrenaline draining away. This wasn't about strength. It wasn't about speed. It was about learning something alive and proving I could adapt faster. The path forward opens quietly beyond the chamber. No announcement, no warning. Just stone leading somewhere colder, harder, less forgiving. I take one step toward it, then another. The mines are done with us. What waits ahead won't be.